the podcast series of URA on higher education. Today we have Sri Lipi with us. She's a 2020 graduate in biotechnology. So, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Srilipi from Biotech. I passed out in 2020. I secured admission in John Hopkins University in MS in Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering program, and I'm flying in August, this August.
Okay, nice. So, uh, why do you want to pursue masters? Like, when did you decide, and why is that so?
So in the first year, when I really don't know anything about biotechnology, I felt like I want to explore the field during the BTech, but I felt the knowledge I experienced in during the BTech 4 years was not enough to judge the field. So I wanted to pursue further education and then decide whether to continue in this field or to move to an industry.
Okay, okay. So, like Johns Hopkins, is it finalized, or are you waiting for any other result from other universities?
No, it's finalized.
Okay, nice. So, like, did you apply for other universities? Like, what were your second options?
So as I said, I passed out in 2020. In my final year, I applied to two universities in USA and rest of the European universities. I applied to University of Minnesota, in University of Pennsylvania last year. I got admission offer from University of Minnesota, but because of COVID, I deferred the admission. So this year, I applied to some other universities so that I felt I just applied to two universities and that's not enough. So this time I applied to 10 universities,
Okay, that's
which are
that's good.
better in ranking than Minnesota.
Okay, okay. So, let me ask you this question. When should I start preparing for my college admissions?
So
And how did you plan your to improve your profile accordingly?
right from the beginning in the second year, most of the seniors suggested us to not waste even a week we get, like even a holidays of 1 month during the winter vacation. So we were engaged in doing internships every winter, summer, like that. But we never know what to do in the field, but just try to explore. So, coming to the preparation, I would say third year is the right time to start preparing for your GRE or any of the standardized tests. So, it the preparation depends on which country you want to go to.
Yeah. So, like, what is the strategy that you follow to select particular universities and shortlist it? And like, how do you shortlist based on country, region?
Okay, I'll like brief you on that.
Yeah.
Most of the people in our college are preferring US because US has a lot of job opportunities, they say, but we never know. It's quite competitive out there. But yeah, compared to other places, US has relatively good job opportunities. But the fees structure is really high in USA compared to Canada, which has a little bit adverse climatic conditions, but still it's good because you're getting stipend and all. Like even in US you're getting stipend, but it's this. You need to get a research profile and I'm sorry, you need to approach a professor in advance of your application in Canadian universities. But in US, it's like a chance basis. After you go there, you will approach professors, and so it totally depends on your thinking. Like if you want to get stipend from the beginning of the program itself, then you can choose Canada over US, and Canada is more affordable compared to US. But there is this Europe opportunity, Europe, Australia, or Eastern side too. Europe doesn't have any tuition fee. Most of the universities in Europe, like all the German universities, Switzerland universities, they're really good, like Technical University of Munich and all. So they don't take any tuition. You just need to arrange for your living. Teaching is good in Europe. Uh, anyway, masters or any graduate program is you need to struggle a lot because it's post graduation, right?
Right.
So checking all these parameters, you should decide which country you want to go to. Last year, I was totally leaning towards European universities so that fee, we don't have any fee. But the problem with European universities is that you need to write an entrance exam. It's not. I would not say it's really difficult, but for each university, you need to prepare for a syllabus and write an exam, and then if you qualify in the written exam, then you are eligible for an interview.
Okay.
You need to consider all these parameters when you want to check which country you want to get into. Coming to the programs, you need to go to each and every university website and check all the programs which you may like, and get open the website for individual programs and see the curriculum first. If you feel like the curriculum is really what you want, the subjects and all, then you can choose that program and shortlist that.
Yeah. Okay. So Johns Hopkins, it's in US, right?
Yeah.
So can you please explain your application procedure and the documents that were required and whether an interview was a part of the procedure?
No, interview wasn't a part of the procedure. Documents include uh, everything from your academic records, like your transcripts, not official though. You'll be sending unofficial transcripts, your GRE score, score, TOEFL or IELTS. It's like optional everywhere in US. So uh, these two documents, and that's it. Like there won't be any documents like passport, or that's it. Not many. In
Yeah. Okay. So like
process, you
how?
won't need many documents.
Okay. Okay. So you started like what were the events throughout the application process?
Events throughout the application process instance.
Like from where you started and what happened
Okay.
subsequently.
So after my third year, I did an internship in CCMB. During that time, I decided I need to pursue masters in Europe or US. I won't go to Canada because of the climate, or Australia or any place, just US and Europe. I like shortlisted London too. So basically, I started checking which universities have the programs of my choice during the 4th year, first semester. Parallelly, I was preparing for GRE. So I think it's better to finish off GRE in third year or after third year, like beginning of the 4th year, so that you are ready with a score. Or if you finish it in third year, you will be having one more chance to prepare and write in 4th year. I basically thought, why to write two times and waste my time in preparation for GRE? It's just English, right? It won't
Yeah.
help me any academically or so. I neglected that and postponed preparing for GRE till November 4/2. I not 4/2, 4/1. I wrote GRE in November, but that was my mistake as I uh, it rushed the process of application. Basically, the deadlines for applying will be November, December time, like for really good universities. Maybe there will be a second offer too during the January, February time, but they mostly give preference to people who applied during November, December time in the scholarships and all. So that was a mistake. So anyways, I shortlisted only two US universities. So that was not a problem. I am talking this regarding US universities. For Europe, the most of the universities have deadlines during January, February, March during that times. So it's not a problem. Uh, After that, COVID happened, and
Yeah.
basically, I forgot to tell in the application documents you need to write SOP. Uh, you'll be getting recommendation letters from your professors or people who you interned with, like the professors of or scientists who you worked under.
Yeah.
Uh, so you need to ask them in advance so that it doesn't interfere with the deadlines. Okay. So after COVID, like in May around, I was called for an interview from University of Minnesota. The interview was really simple, but they were asking about an abstract which they sent me and questions related to my specific area of interest. So mostly any university in US will be concerned about what you really want to work on. Like in your SOP, you should somewhat specifically mention about your area of interest.
Okay.
This year, as I told you, I applied to 10 universities. I was totally free, so I was checking each university's programs and which one will properly align to, as I already have an admit in hand. So I was checking all really good universities which align to my interests. Uh, I Other than Hopkins, I secured admission in Rice University, which has really good bioengineering program. So basically, I'm interested in regenerative medicine. So I thought I didn't find that specific field in any of the universities. Like this, you might be having some specific area of interest, or you might not be having. Like you may have a broader field. I thought my program in Minnesota was on stem cells and regenerative medicine. I needed broader program so that even if my interests change in future, that should be accommodated, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
that's why it's better to choose a, a little broader area during your masters. BTech is like totally broad. You are into all the domains of biotechnology. But yeah. So if you choose a little broader field, I thought biomedical engineering or bioengineering would be good. So I checked all the bioengineering programs in many of the US universities, but selected which program those programs which have regenerative medicine as their key research area. So in that way, you will be selecting which program you want to do.
okay. So this question I have that after fourth year, did you took a drop or went for placements? Like, what were you doing in the?
I was totally serious about going to masters, so I didn't take any placement. I didn't apply for any jobs during the placement, which I regret because COVID happened.
Okay. Oh, so which English proficiency test did you take, and why why you took that particular test?
So I took IELTS during final year
Yeah.
in September. I was basically planning to go to Europe. IELTS is accepted worldwide, right? But TOEFL is for Canada and US. So I thought if I take IELTS, it is versatile. I can go to US, Europe, London, anywhere. So I preferred IELTS. IELTS was easy. It was pretty good too. About GRE, a wonderful opportunity which uh, was created by COVID this year for this spring 2020 and fall 2021 admits. There was no GRE requirements for any university in US.
Yeah, there were like unfair practices involved in GRE, right?
Ah,
Unfair practices were there in GRE. Like if you are taking tests from home, there
yeah,
was something like that, right?
there's no GRE requirement. They mostly judge the profile based on the academics, not
Okay.
the score.
But like in general, for future, it would be required.
Yeah, it's required definitely.
There was special case. Okay. So how did you go about writing your essays for application purpose?
Hmm?
How did you go about writing essays for your application purpose?
Okay. So writing essays was really pretty tough. Initially, my essays sounded really emotional, and many people say for biotech people, it's the first paragraph needs to be quite emotional and all. So I used all the GRE words to make the essay beautiful. But later, after speaking to seniors and all, I realized no one is like interested in the GRE stuff we learned, and we
Okay.
can't apply those words in the essays. So essays should be pretty straightforward, but yeah, you can add some melodrama to it, but not to the extent that it spoils, like it's too dramatic. In the first paragraph, you should give the gist of what you want to do, why are you doing all this stuff. Like it should jot down all the important points you want to tell them. From the second paragraph, you should describe your research experience and how you are uh, eligible to do this field. There is an interesting comments or like what should I say? There is an interesting write up on writing an essay by MIT. Once you can check that too. It's really interesting. I will share you the link.
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, you should tailor each of your essay according to the program you are applying. Each university has different requirements as per the students they want each for each term. This year, their requirements are uh, they want more academic students. So, like who are very much into academics because they waive GRE and all. I don't say this as an example, but the requirements of the universities change from year to year. You should go to the program website and check what kind of students they want. And you should tailor your essay in such a way that you are fitting into the requirements of the university. So I would always recommend you to write a different essay for each university you're applying.
Okay, okay. So it's like even if I'm applying for same program but to different
Yeah,
universities, so it's better
definitely.
I customize it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. So the programs that you applied for, how long were they and what were their cost?
So all the programs I applied for are 2 year programs. Some are like flexible 1 to 2 year programs. But the cost of attendance is really different for each program. It totally depends on the university, right?
Yeah.
I applied to Georgia Institute of Technology.
Okay.
Which, the fee was really low compared to all of the universities. University of Minnesota had 50 lakhs fee for for 1 year. For Hopkins, it's really as high as more than 60 lakhs per annum. For Rice, it's 55 lakhs. Similar, as I said, US is pretty costly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so how did you go about finding scholarships? And can you name a few of them?
Uh, I'm currently going through this process of finding the scholarships. I secured one scholarship, but it is kind of for the community, a relatively small community. Uh, Other than that, there are international women scholarships like AAUW and Aga Khan scholarship, which is like physical application should be filed either in Mumbai or Delhi. Anywhere in the country, it's not possible. I'm still finding sources like Tata scholarship and all. Don't know whether they land me in some better place.
Okay, so like, are there any scholarships in US?
US, it's basically offering because of COVID, or I don't know whether it's the general situation. There are no scholarships to, though it's discouraging, I would say. It totally depends on the program. Very few programs are offering scholarships right away. Out of all the 10 universities, only one university, Boston University, was giving scholarships for the students. Rest of the universities, no.
Okay, so like,
People prefer USCs. Like in the second year, they might get a tuition remission if they get a TA or RA position. So that covers only the first year you need to pay the fees. Second year, most of it is paid by TA or RA. If you get that, you will get remission.
okay,
Check
okay,
all those factors before deciding a university.
yeah, definitely. So, how are you financing your education?
I'm going for an educational loan. So
Okay,
I'm planning to get a RA position because I'm going forward for thesis based research.
yeah,
So mostly in the second year, I'm expecting it tuition fee will be way much like 50 to 80%.
okay. Okay, so for loans, can you list a few options for few great options?
About loans.
Yeah,
So I spoke to many people, many banks, and many organizations regarding this. I am finalizing my loan options based on the rate of interest they're offering. So
okay,
there are secured loans and unsecured loans. Secured loans in the sense you need to give them a collateral property, your property as a collateral, in which you can borrow as much amount as you want, but the property should be equally worth it,
okay,
worth the amount you're asking. For unsecured loans, the maximum amount they can offer is 45 lakhs, not more than that.
all
So
right,
for for these, the rate of interest will be high for unsecured loans as you are not offering them any collateral support.
okay.
Coming to the rate of interest, it's low for Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda. It is as low as 7.5, 7.75 to 8%, 8.5%. But to the rest of banks I spoke to, it was around 9, 10, 11, like that.
Okay. So, this is a very important question that a lot of people ask. Will these international programs help me boost my career or land me a good job?
So after your masters,
Yeah.
the job search will be difficult either in the country where you have done your masters, or if you are back in India too, it won't increase your job opportunities according to me.
Okay. All right. So, how to deal
Academy,
with? Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Go on.
So I would say, I don't know whether to if you are really working hard to find a job, then go for a job outside the country only. I would say that, because even after you did your masters and you come back here, you won't find good jobs, because people treat BTech, biotech, and masters or MTech biotech people the same way, until and unless you did a PhD.
Okay.
Doing PhD in India is really difficult because of several factors. You are willing to do because you are having some contacts, or if you secured some position, PhD position in some lab, you can do anything you want after a PhD.
Okay. So, how to deal with permit, work permit, and student visa limitations that they have over there?
So in US, the work permit is for 3 months, I guess. After you graduate, you're allowed to stay until 3 months. So in your second year, uh, of your master's program, you will start your
Yeah.
job search, right? So if you find a job uh, before you graduate, that's totally okay. You will be joining after you graduate, but after 3 months, they won't allow you to stay in US. Until then, you can be free. Uh, Coming to this full-time work status, when you are, I'm sorry, full time when you are in full-time study, you are not allowed to do work outside the campus, but some people do, but it's uh, like a crime over there. Maybe you will be filed a case.
Okay.
In your
Okay.
the work permit is up to the campus level, so you can do any job in the campus until unless the work hours are not affecting your full-time study.
Okay. Okay. So, we can do part-time or online jobs, right?
Yeah, you can do.
Okay. So, I would like to ask this question. How did you get guidance for your master's in higher education?
Guidance.
Yeah, like who guided you, or like any events or something like that?
uh, right from the beginning, I felt like, were you a member of TAP?
Oh, me?
Yeah, Technological Association of
No,
Biotechnology.
no, no, no.
So in my first and second years, I was a volunteer and executive member of TAP. So we had good communication with our seniors who are really into the subject and they wanted to do something in the field. So the interaction with them inspired us a lot. Other than that, we never know from the beginning, right? Even we were into MPC. So what to do after biotech, BTech in biotech, we never know. So most, I would say, the guidance is by our seniors and our friends who or co-interns who are doing interns along with us. All this.
Okay, yeah. So, through URA, we are trying to, provide a systematic guidance to NITW students through networking, giving projects and everything, and conducting these podcasts like these. So, do you think how good it is, or do you want to say something about like, is it will it help the students, future aspirants?
Yeah, definitely. The networking is the main thing which is required in this field because the opportunities are very less. By knowing people and by getting into relatively good internships, we are inspired and you know we can do something in the field. Otherwise, it's like our talent or energy is wasted. So I would
Yeah,
say it's really cool idea to get a research community in our college.
yeah. So, anything you want to suggest to your juniors or future aspirants?
Nothing. I would say don't stay in your room. I would say go network with people so that you'll know something. But in the current times, like in the COVID times, I would ask any of the biotech people because we don't have any labs on. Most of the labs are online. I would
Yeah,
say if you can do something, then go to a nearby lab, do something because it's an online time, and if you have some time, go work part time or something so that you can get at least some experience. Because see, even with experience, it is really difficult to get into a program of your choice.
yeah,
It really matters if you're into bioinformatics or if you're a bioinformatician, then go do as many projects as you want because it's totally online. Anything but don't sit idle because it's gonna affect you. That's it.
okay. Thanks a lot for joining with us today. Thanks a lot for taking time out.
It's okay.